Welcome back. This is Newslink right here on ENCA. We continue with our focus right here on our channel, DSTV channel 403. Now, the National Association of School Governing Bodies is raising concerns, serious concerns about the state of Gauteng schools. It says Gauteng Education is dragging its feet when it comes to school infrastructure development projects, and as reported, the department has failed to complete about 20 schools on time, thus leaving hundreds of students in limbo. So for more on this, I'm now joined by NASGB Chairperson Matakanye Matakanye for this conversation. And thank you so much for your time, Matakanye. A very warm good morning to you. I think let me start here. What do you think informs this negligence when it comes to ensuring that the Department of Education in Gauteng rather expedites school projects in as far as infrastructure is concerned? What do you think informs the negligence?
Thank you very much, Tumelo. Good morning to also your viewers. This problem of infrastructure is caused by the power, the land, and the labor for the last 350 years. So it's a country problem. It's not really a problem of Gauteng. But in terms of Gauteng, we are saying government must add more money because every child wants to attend school in Gauteng. They see future or opportunities in Gauteng. Therefore, there must be more schools that must be built in Gauteng. And also the question of maintenance in Gauteng. I think the department is just lacking in terms of the maintaining of these schools, and some schools are closing, and it shows that now we have a problem, and that's where they are failing. Now we are saying everybody comes to Gauteng to attend school here. You'll see, Tumelo, the beginning of January, it will be Gauteng, a little bit of Western Cape as well. Gauteng, where then the MEC will say, no, I have already placed this number of children, I'm going with these children, I replace the children and all those. So it therefore means there are not enough schools in Gauteng. If there are enough schools, then I think the department must make sure that now, if there are enough schools, what happens if then everybody comes here, then there is no space for these children. So I think that's more what, but largely we are saying the finance must make sure that now they give Gauteng more money so that they are able to deliver on their mandate.
Right. That is just Gauteng as a province. You also mentioned that Western Cape trails behind Gauteng in terms of demand. But now on a more national perspective, the Minister of Basic Education, conceded that there's a backlog here. We're talking of 100 billion rands in terms of school infrastructure. She also lamented your point, saying that the funds they receive as a department does not match the demand. Now, this is a conundrum. What's the department to do now?
Really, it's a national problem. It's a national problem. I don't think really the Department of Education can address this problem. As I said earlier on, it's a question of power, it's a question of land, it's a question of labor, which was created by the colonial masters for the last 350 years. Now, these schools, and you'll remember, Tumelo, also spatial planning. I mean, there are a lot and lot of schools. You go to the township, there are a lot and lot of schools. But those are not a type of schools that our current parents and our current children would like to attend to. They move to those schools that were built for the colonial masters. So it's a big problem. So I don't know how to address it, but we have to sit down with the department and say, I think time is now that the money that the department gives, it must be shifted. A lot of money must be shifted to schools in the township, the schools in the rural, deep rural, the schools of the working class. I think those schools, Tumelo, really and truly, we must accept that those schools must be looked into and attended to now. I mean, you can hear the question of the pit latrines and all this, but when you look at those pit latrines, they are in the rural, the deep rural, the working class schools. Those latrines, I mean, they are there, and now, of course, a responsible department is the Department of Education. There's no way, then when we point a figure, there's no way that we can point a figure. We always point a figure at them and say, you have not done, although they've tried. I mean, you can't address this problem of 350 years in 30 years. And you say, no, in 30 years you have failed and all those. But I think we just have to unite as South Africans and ensure that now all these schools that are still behind in terms of the infrastructure, then they are addressed.
Yeah, and the importance of that, again, is because if we do not, as you've rightfully mentioned, it's the learners, it's the teachers that are directly impacted. The poorest of the poorest communities affected by not only the lack of infrastructure development, but also climate change. We're seeing these weather conditions we're living under. There's a parent or many parents who've been coming to the media saying that they had to even remove their children from school because they could see that their children, are in schools that are not only dilapidated, but they're also sinkholes within the hostels. So this means that kids would not go to school. It means that teachers will have to work under porous conditions. And that is the primary condition here and the problem and concern, that we don't want to see many kids getting out of the school system.
Really and truly, you see, we really have to congratulate our teachers. They are working under terrible conditions, but I mean, they are always there, making sure that now these children receive quality education. But the condition really will not allow our children to get. That's why, and I indicated earlier on that parents, hence we may blame parents now when at times they take their children out of these township schools, they take their children out of these rural, deep rural schools and take them to town schools, to town schools. Then you will say, no, but these parents are not reasonable. Why do they see? And all the, because every parent wants their children to achieve excellence.
Right.
Also, the teacher, I think, also want their children, because these are their children to receive, to get excellence. But how do you get excellence in those dilapidated schools, forgotten schools, and all those? They can't. They will not do that. But we want to say we are continuously supporting the teachers, we are continuously supporting our children, supporting our parents. And we all even call upon school governing bodies. So I'm sure that now they improvise so that these children, these parents should not take their children and go and be crowded somewhere and only find that now teachers are teaching those overcrowded classes. And you, as a teacher, you end up even not knowing the names of those children that you teach because the class is so overcrowded.
We'll leave it there, and thank you so much for speaking to me about this, painting a picture, rather grim one, when it comes to the reality of many schools. These, a majority of them being in deep rural communities, poor communities at that, the working class being directly affected. But at the end of this, it's the Department of Basic Education that has to do something about it. And those calls will continue as we continue to place our focus on dilapidated school infrastructure. All my thanks to National Association of School Governing Bodies Chairperson, Mr. Matakanye Matakanye. Pleasure having you on NewsLink this morning.